Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly game master today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign, playing Paizo Publishing's very cool fantasy RPG Pathfinder 2nd Edition, playing in a custom setting of my own devise, the Spires of Paridar, a Coalpunk city full of occult conspiracy, mystery, and Dickensian class disparity and industrial progress. And with me today are the stars of the Spires of Paridar campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? I think you guys are all... Golag may not be second level yet. We may not have leveled him up yet. But I think everyone else is second level already. So
my sheet says second level.
Oh, maybe you've already leveled up then. Great.
Maybe I just barely, creeped over the last time we played each other.
Could be. Well, that's great. Yeah. Maybe we have leveled you up already then. So then, guys, we'll go through the order I got you on the screen. First up is Sean.
Hi, everybody. I'm playing Golag, son of Doc. I am a I haven't played in a bit, so I am reorientating. But I'm an orc witch, and with a feisty shadow. And I don't remember many details of the leveling up. It does say level 2, and I'll look for new. Would I expect to see new things on here, Kevin?
You should. So you should have. Let's see here. You should have some new spells, which I'm not sure you gained. What might have happened is you might have leveled up at the end of the session, and then I'm not sure you've had a chance to play him again yet.
Right. That probably.
So the fortunate thing is it will take care of all the math part for you. Yeah. And then what we can do is between now and next session, or next session you're able to make it. Let me just check one quick thing. And that'll be your spell slots, because I think you might get... I don't want to rob you of the opportunity to cast more spells in the event that you do gain that at the next level. So second level, you gain a skill feat and a witch feat. And you gain an extra first level spell. So you can now cast 3 spells per day.
Outstanding. Okay,
so I got that copied, and your cantrips remain the same. All right, so there we go. So, yes, okay, so you're good to go. All right, now, next up is James.
Right, well, I am Sally Dumer, svelte and elegant young lady of the sea who's about to do some cleanup work.
Nice. Next up is Ingolf.
I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Basil Rathbone, who's an Isoki investigator, and he's in big trouble.
Nice. And last but certainly not least is Darren.
Yeah, Darren. I'm playing Dr. Adam Ersprunk, the back alley doctor, inventor, and his trusty sidekick Igor.
Nice. Now, guys, this is part 3 of our mystery, The Endless Odyssey. What has happened thus far?
Well, for Sean's benefit, we need to probably rewind quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think the main parts that need to know is we went to upper class sort of party, or Sally was the main person that was invited, I believe, and we tagged along basically to a party, and there was a seance. That was the main attraction. What was the name of the guy? Just having a look through his name. I was aiming there. Augustus, yeah. So he's gaining quite a reputation for being a bit of a party showman. He's gathering up some followers. Seemingly, he's set up an operation where people are being attracted to sort of stay with him, really. These people are the Colston Head family, Stoneborn Manor. He's sort of taken it over. And people that have been the main focus of this seance have sort of become a bit besotted with him, and they're sort of staying with him, not seen. We're trying to investigate a particular lady that was She went missing and is believed to be at the Stoneborn Manor. What lady was that?
Beatrice Ivywood.
Beatrice, yeah. So Beatrice, we've spoken to the father of Beatrice. He's in a bad way. Dr. Ersprung has been to like an asylum where one of the previous seances, one of the previous sort of main focuses of one of these seances supposedly gone mad, because these seances, they see into the sort of previous lives that they supposedly had, and they see all sorts of weird and strange things, and they believe that she'd gone mad. So I've been investigating that, looking into actually going and speaking to this young girl. Just trying to find her name.
Her name is Vesta King.
Vesta King. Yeah, so Dr. Garfield.
And actually, I didn't load it, but I did an illustration of Dr. Wakefield. Wakeman, Dr. Garfield Wakeman.
Yeah, scary, sort of 7 foot, intimidating, skinny guy. But yeah, so we got that to come up, a meeting with this Vesta King to try and get to some information. A strange woman with a cat was seen at the seance, or a couple of the guys saw it. Everyone else was oblivious and didn't see her. I think Basil and Sally were looking into trying to track down some more information. Was Archibald and Watson Fowle. Did we get a name for her?
Yeah, 2 new. You did actually. So there's 2 new faces that you have not met yet, Golag. One is a new ally that the guys met 1 mystery ago. Something about labor relations. Sir Archibald Morgan. He is part of an order called the Order of Saint Sylvester. That is effectively like kind of a monster hunter group. He is also a veteran. He is also a victim of magical experimentation, though his results were different from the things that gave rise to Hannibal and the Dampier, kind of curse. He had a friend who actually has a friend in law as well. That is Professor Morris Watson Fowle. And Professor Morris Watson Fowle is a senior lecturer now on divination. Divination's magics at Collingwood University. He is also a childhood friend of the doctor who went missing and had been serving on the Harpy with Captain Hunter. So he had heard Sally Dumere's name. He'd heard the name of the Shadow Illuminations detective agency because you guys had been looking into the disappearance of Captain Hunter and had been asking questions about that doctor. He and Sir Archibald Morgan, or Archie as he calls him, they were both childhood friends of that doctor. And he's also had, he was interested in having the Illuminators investigate the events around this Elder Order of the Endless Odyssey because of two members of privilege are there, but he couldn't do it on his own because he was expressly forbidden by the college for some reason. When Basil shared an illustration of that, of the woman that he spotted at the seance, they did identify him.
Gwendolyn Fallow, was it?
Yes, Gwendolyn Fallow. What do you guys remember about Gwendolyn Fallow? I can change your display name here too.
I mean, I think Basil, and Hannibal are the only ones that have seen her so far. Yeah. She was mysteriously sort of in the background and just seemed to sort of camouflage in. No one else had seen her.
Basil,
particularly,
do you recall what the Professor Watson Fowle told you about that woman?
Yeah. She was an upcomer in the conjuring department at the university. She was I think she was working with Professor Galbary. And
Yes.
Then she somehow, there seems to be some kind of scandal. We haven't found out what exactly was going on. But she left university, so for some reason. And we will have to find that out once we get out alive.
So that is, broadly speaking, what brings our heroes, or the Illuminators, into the current investigation. Where we were ending, we last spent our session, Dr. Ursprung was just returning from the sanitarium, which we gave, it was Innsmouth Sanitarium, because we're carrying on the proud tradition of naming mental health facilities after Lovecraft references. And the Basil and Sally had gone to investigate meet with, I should say, Mr. Ivywood after having had lunch with elsewhere. What we can say, Golag, is that you're actually running behind. Maybe you're like arriving at the meeting with the others. You've been distracted by some other, investigation or some other sundry matter, and we're going to pick our session up with you just arriving late at the at the Ivywood house, the place where are interested in hiring you guys to try and find out what happened to their dear daughter Beatrice Ivywood. So you're sort of knocking at the door, and you've got your pocket watch in your hand, and you're mindful of you're late. How does Golag feel about being late anyway? Is he one of those infuriatingly punctual people, or is he one of those people who's routinely late for everything?
No, he can probably hear his father's words in his head of disappointment, and you're not going to find any secrets that way. You are the secret. You're not finding out secrets. And
okay.
This kind of phrases of his father that infuriating, repeated for years. Okay, so yeah, you're chastising yourself silently for this. The door is answered, and what you can see is there is the entrance room that is sort of that audience, or not audience, like that foyer that you see in nice but not like extravagantly rich homes, and where it seems to lead up to the second stories and other stories in the house, and then elsewhere into other parts of the house. What you can see is that there is it's not a doorman, it's a young maid who seems to be answering the door, who looks, you would judge, is probably someone who more is used to dealing with some of the, and you judge by her manners, the way she answers the door. Someone who's used to more dealing with, one of the younger members of the family. And there is the person dressed like the sort of, the butler or the head of the house, or the staff at least, who seems to be standing at a door that has a cup on the ground, like a teacup, which appears to have water in it. The man is still waiting at the door, and the woman says, "I'm sorry, can I help you?" Yes, Golag here, here for a meeting. Late. And he just kind of stutters because he's nervous about being late.
So Sally, you can hear, to bring everyone back into the scene here, Sally has been feigning difficulties to try and stall, because Basil has gone investigating in search of the person who was listening in on their conversation with Mr. Ivywood. And we'll reveal to you, Sean, who that was when we get back to Basil. But Sally, you can hear Golag just arrived. Perhaps an excuse to stall further? Do you say anything?
And I haven't heard any panic screams from upstairs.
Not yet, no.
I'm sure it's going fine, but I don't know anything about it.
So she says, well, your lady's not doing well. She's taken poorly. And the man at the door sort of, and you can hear someone walk away from the door. Sally walks up and says, "I'm sorry, sir. Who are you here to see?"
And I will stick my head out the door and say, Dr. Golag, you've arrived.
Okay.
Marvelous.
Okay.
Yes. He looks relieved to possibly, to have this lead on where he should be. So he goes out. He nods at the servant and then.
So the male servant sort of gives you a studied up and down the way that only like social climbing middle class people can do, and he kind of looks you up and down. You're a physician?
And I ignore the question and put my coat and my scarf and my gloves
Awesome.
and everything else. Just kind of put it against his chest, assuming.
Oh, I thought you were going to put it on him.
Oh well, I am, but for him to carry.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So those
And then
manners,
proceed with Sally, and then just bustle in past him into Sally.
those manners that your father grilled into you are impeccable in this. So you walk over. Sally, are you going to let him in?
Yes. So I open the door
Okay.
and then swiftly shut it behind him.
Okay. We see the door open, and you grab the tea and you bring it in and close the door again.
Yeah.
All right, so Golag, you don't know what's going on. You thought that Basil was going to be here as well.
So, I mean, I'm relieved just to be where I'm supposed to be finally. So I take a big breath and this is where I'm. Everything's okay. Golag is here. I'm late. I know. And so I'm just going to take it in for a moment. I smile. I have my whatever passes for a Pathfinder poker face, a Paridar poker face, and nod at Sally and just taking the situation.
Sure. So where you find yourself is in a well-to-do person's study. It has the same kind of. There's a couple of things that are likely from elsewhere in the world, but then there are also sort of what are established. There's a bookshelf with what are the accepted sort of Paridar classics on there. There's a comfortable reading chair, and then there's like a divan and a sort of another chair that is set up in such a way as to take in sort of a meeting. There's the remnants of food from a sort of like mid-afternoon or early afternoon meeting. But again, there's a door leading out, else deeper into the room, and that door is conspicuously a little bit ajar. Sally, what do you say?
Yep.
So, well, thank heavens you're here, Booth. Basil was here, but he's gone investigating upstairs, but I haven't heard anything more from him. He's ferreting around.
Has the meeting taken place? We're meeting with the potential client, right? Or
that's right. But we've been put off on this, and Basil just wanted to go and scout out the house.
I see.
So you hear a knock at the door.
Hasn't happened yet, though, right?
I'm not going to knock us, otherwise animals are barking. But you knock at the door, and the same servant says, "Are you feeling better, Ms. Dumer? Can we do anything else?" And there's a vague hint to his tone of losing patience, like you've been, told you can leave. So, Golag or Sally, do you say anything before we cut to Basil?
I say, Golag, tell him I need rest.
Yes. Well, you have to understand, I've just arrived, so I'm just catching up. If you'll give us a minute, we'll have more information for you in a moment.
Okay. Why don't you give us a deception check, please?
All right. And I will pander to the GM that it's kind of true. I did just arrive, so I'm trying. I'm trying for the half.
This is true. I'll let you use diplomacy or deception, whichever one you feel is better for Golag.
Let me see here. Let's see. Diplomacy is a 6. I mean, they're both 6. I will go with diplomacy anyway.
Okay.
And we'll see. What happens.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Strong start.
Yeah. So he, there's again like the way that you have carried yourself, whatever his prejudice may be with respect to your ancestry, he immediately accepts you carry yourself with the station of someone who commands respect from the servant class. So you have given Basil some additional time to avoid discovery. To give you context for what's going on game-wise too, Sean, we opened this whole thing with Basil rolling a critical failure. So when we were running a ticking clock, Sally has been pushing that clock back a little bit, and you have thankfully pushed it back a little while. So let's cut up to Basil's scene. So, Ingo, why don't you tell us what Basil has been doing in the house here and where he now finds himself?
Yeah, so he was trying to follow who was eavesdropping on them, and it turned out that this was the lady of the house. So he followed her to her room and tried to have a conversation. Turned out she was an evil cultist, and she has a weapon and threatened to kill Basil in the last session.
Okay. I can't remember if we gave her a name.
I have the name Mrs., so I'm probably, I don't know, Mrs. Ivywood.
Just Mrs. Ivywood?
Yes.
Okay, so Izora Ivywood is going to be her name.
Izora, okay.
I'll put that in chat here for you. Mrs. Izora Ivywood. I also promised you guys a list of NPCs, and then I was too busy to do it. So I will do it the before the next session. Maybe, probably, hopefully. So what? She's standing before you. I don't think she has a weapon like a knife or anything like that. She had that glowing stone, right?
Oh yeah. And she locked the door. I remember that.
She locked the door.
Well.
Yes. So Basil, we see Basil standing before. This is a well-dressed woman dressed all in black, of clearly someone of means, attractive, and she is in her, I guess, late 40s, probably. And her hair is up, and the look is. I'm picturing. What's her name? The actress who played the female lead in Farscape. She's an Australian actress. I can't remember what her name is. She's now does a shit ton of voice acting work. But anyway, if you picture the actress from Farscape who didn't wear a shit ton of makeup, that is who, dark hair up. That's who I'm picturing here. So. She has said that you were I believe it was something to the effect of that you were quite the noisy rat, but we know how to deal with rats. So what do you say, Basil? You do a quick look around and you find yourself, you are in effectively like her powder chamber. So it's like the Claudia Lee, Black. That's who I'm thinking of, Claudia Black.
Yeah. So I would immediately just look out if there is a window or something to leave.
There most definitely is. One cannot get oneself ready with makeup and such without having access to natural light, of course. So there's definitely a window leading out, and you are on the second story right now.
Okay, so that seems a viable option, but maybe she does not want to kill me right now. So, excuse me for interrupting your business, but maybe we would like to talk a little bit with each other before going to nastier things.
Okay. Why don't you give us a diplomacy check? Yeah, defenestration. Most definitely.
Yeah. So character. So this should be.
Is there a German word for defenestration?
No.
I feel like if any language is going to have a existing word for.
Yeah, there is the word Fenstersturz, but it's not like this nice of a word.
All right. So that's not great for what your bonus is. You want to spend your hero point?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could hit the yeah.
Let me make the decision easier. We're at noon right now. We did have a little bit of a late start, but let's have everyone go ahead and add yourself a hero point.
Yes. Okay. So then I will spend that immediately and roll it.
There you go. Bad. All right. So she and you may recall, so her voice seemed to be different as the gem was glowing. And one other important bit, these two went to visit. They went to the manor to try and to Stoneburn Manor to try and convince Beatrice to come back. That's something that Caspar Ivywood, the father, had mentioned. So her eyes, narrow, and she says, "You wish to buy your life?"
Yes, most obviously.
We have no interest of your kind.
Let me put it this way. If you kill me now, you might get the attention of the Paridar Detective Agency, because I work for the son of Dark. So, are you ready to get this kind of attention right now?
She looks at you and says, "What makes you think we would not have him work for us?"
I'm pretty sure he does not work for you right now. He might work for you at some later point, but you're not that influential right now, I suppose.
What do you propose, little rat?
Right now, we're just interested in two girls coming back to their families.
She kind of grins. You would make demands? You could be found dead.
Yes, that is a possibility.
She takes two steps towards you, and you're realizing, like, this powder room isn't quite as big as I may have thought it would be. Her eyes narrow further, and you can see there's now a little bit of a reddish glow to the black irises in her, or dark irises in her eyes. It says, "They are ours. You will forget this. You will tell them to do nothing, or you and yours will pay."
Oh. Now you threaten someone else as well. Oh, well, I think now it's time to So she.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight here, Basil.
Yeah.
You think that she may be overplaying her hand.
I guess, yeah.
The way she's threatening. This is sort of like, this is basic, saying whatever that comes to mind to try and scare someone kind of stuff. So you don't doubt that there's a potential for violence here, but the way that they are spouting off, or that the woman is spouting off at least, doesn't strike you as a well-planned mastermind kind of thing.
Yeah. So maybe we can just agree that we both now cry out loud, that we shout for someone to get in here to help us to get rid of some vermin, whatever that vermin may specifically be, and I leave.
She narrows. She steps into you. I think we can have the vermin leave.
Okay. So, am I able to grab the stone she has in her hand?
You could try, I think, yeah. So why don't you give us, that would be an athletics check. Let me just figure out what the difficulty is going to be here for you. I don't think that this lady is super skilled in this, so let's see here. Let's set the difficulty at, let's say 17.
Well, that gives me at least some chance. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try that.
And so the first one will be to get, oh, so close. Now,
damn. Yeah.
Does your investigation ability give you a bonus to skill checks related to your investigation?
Yes.
You have your hands on it. You haven't yanked it out of her hands yet because you need a critical success to get that all in one. So you have your hands on it, and her eyes kind of go big, like, oh, what are you doing? And then she screams. So Golag and Sally, Golag, you just been brought up to speed. Sally, you're like, okay, we've seen a couple minutes, and then you hear a scream of a woman upstairs. Shit. What do you do?
I look at Sally and say, I haven't ordered my drink yet, and I look a little pained.
Sally, what do you do, if anything?
He's very capable.
So
Yeah, that will be fine.
Okay, so I go, I sprint for the stairs.
Okay. So you go racing to the stairs, like past the door?
Yep.
Okay, so let's do this. Why don't you give us a perception check? Because I think you unfortunately have not seen what Basil has seen, so you don't necessarily know where he is. You do know the scream came from upstairs. Let's set it's going to be DC 15 to figure out sort of, where.
And we know
your perception's awful.
Very perceptive.
But nat 20, look at that. Beautiful.
I spot everything and the address of the front doorman.
All right, so you go racing out further into the house, and because of your seaborne speed, you're easily kind of bursting out. Golag, what are you doing while Sally goes running off to try and find where Basil is?
Oh, I mean, I'm still just trying to catch up with all this, and so good. If someone's leading, I'm going to be following. So I just suck in behind her, off we go.
This is what we're doing. Okay. Basil, what are you doing?
Yeah, now that I have my hand on it, I mean, maybe I can just hold on to it, and maybe she can't use it if I have my hand on it as well.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so I think what let's see here. What I'm gonna do, I should have brought in my spell cards. Dang it! Perfect opportunity. Madison, come on. Sure. All right, hold on. Let's see here. I think I need a will save from you, please.
Okay. I can do that.
Yes, basic will save, please.
Oh, will save this. This is this one. Oh,
Look at that, nice. Okay, so it's a basic save, which means you take half damage from this. So she looks down at you, and that reddish glow flares up to the point where you can't see her eyes at all anymore. And she says in a voice that is very much not hers, "Let go." And you take 2 points of psychic damage as this pushes through into your mind. Basil, what are you doing?
I want to kick her leg, so maybe she will just get out of balance or something like that.
Sure.
So that I can...
You're not trying to do actual damage, right?
No.
So let's treat this as a grapple check. So why don't you give us once again an athletics check?
Yeah, that is my specialty. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, you do take 2 points of damage as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
That 19.
All right. So yeah, you and the stone is out of her hand, and the glowing eyes end, and she just drops down, thump, in a dead faint, and the stone itself stops glowing.
Yeah. I put the stone in my pocket. And then cry, help!
Okay.
The lady of the house, she's unconscious.
Why don't you give us a thievery check, please?
A thievery check. Yeah,
and Sally, if you could kindly, actually Sally and Golag, if you could both kindly give us athletics checks, please. We'll see how fast you get. Basil, look at that. So that's going to be a difficulty of 23 in order for them to spot where the stone has been concealed. Golag, okay. 20. Look at that, guys. What a team. 21 each. So what that tells us is that you guys are the first ones to the door. The door bursts open. Sally, you can see Basil is in there. He looks up at you. There's the unconscious woman at the ground. Oh, the door is locked, isn't it? Yeah. So you get there, Sally and Golag, at the same time, and the door is locked. You guys could try and break the door down if you want, or you could try and pick the lock if you've got lockpicking tools, or Basil, you could just run over and unlock the door.
Yeah, I would do that if I think they would knock or something.
Yeah, I mean, Golag probably gives it the. He likes rapping on doors with his cane anyway, and so he gives it one of those bang, bang, bang. Like it's something that a noble person would do.
Yep.
He thinks, and so it gives it a good. What's going on in there? Bang, bang, bang.
Basil, it seems that Golag has finally arrived.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit nervous now, so I run over, open the door, and see. Take care of her. She's unconscious.
Go for it, Dr. Golag. Use those medical skills.
And then you guys.
Says Sally.
Yeah. Nice. Golag, are you trained in medicine?
I have a 4.
Do you have a T next to it?
I need a T, huh? Let's see. Proficiency says, is it T4? Is that what you mean?
T, yes. Yep. That means you're trained in it. So, yeah, you could do some rudimentary medicine here.
There you go.
Nice.
He straightens his collar and pulls his.
Oh, that's
pulls
less
his,
amusing now.
So
Is it possible to get a so I think Golag is, I mean, obviously, so Basil, we already know, was surreptitiously up here anyway. So he's suspicious just naturally. So what exactly is going on here, despite the fact that, she's apparently in medical distress, seems a little bit, he's giving the whole place an eye, including Basil, like, what is the situation? Can we get a read maybe without, you think, can Golag get a read of
off
what?
of Basil?
Yeah, in the situation, like, does she, what, is everything as it seems?
Okay, well, you can go and check her, like, if you're going to go along with the play acting as a doctor.
Yeah, so he does.
And you can hear the creak of stairs. I mean, the very heavy-set Mr. Ivywood is making his way down. Isora! Isora! He's saying as he's approaching. Why don't you give us a medicine check, Golag? Let's see how... This woman, 19 is pretty good. So
there we go.
She has just fainted. There's nothing there's nothing else wrong with her. Although there are, with a roll that good, what you can see is there are curious indentations in her palm, as if she was grabbing hold of something very, very tight. There's like creases in her hand. They are they're healthily, going back to normal. It's just that like when you sleep funny on a sheet, you got that crease on your face, or that's sort of what the what you can see in her. It seems as if she was gripping something quite tightly in her hands.
And Golag doesn't have any foreknowledge of the stone in question?
Nothing. You can assume your lack of knowledge. Golag was occupied with something else.
Yep. Okay.
I think that he and Hannibal may have been working on something.
He looks at it curiously and glances at Basil, and then, but then continues with his ministrations of, trying to look very officious.
Sure. So the Mr. Ivywood gets to the door and looks down, and then he sees you in there. It's just, who are you, sir?
I'm sorry.
I'm Golag, son of Doc, and I was here for a meeting, but it seems that my medical skills are needed.
Oh. You are, and he seems at that to be completely distracted by the name, by the owner and proprietor of the Shadow Illuminations Detective Agency. And he's, oh, sir, will she be fine?
She seems all right. She just needs a moment, I think, to regain her faculties.
And that does seem to be the case. Like her vitals are normal. She seems to have fainted.
Perhaps some water, sir, and a damp cloth.
And you heard the doctor. And he instructs his staff. They head off to go and get that. It seems as if in the heat of this, at least before, up until the time you guys leave, no one's going to question why Basil was up here. So fortunately, in the sort of hubbub that's gone on, he's going to be, expressing concern. She will not awaken. She's going to be still needing rest and will be transported to her bedroom by the staff. But do you guys?
I think Golag's going to follow up with his observation of her hand by, not really knowing anything about it, by looking around by just quickly trying to. Quietly look around the room for what might have caused it.
So Golag and Basil, do you guys have any languages in common that are not common?
Yeah, Orcish maybe.
I've got quite a few, it looks like. I've got Common, Elven, Infernal, Jotun, Orcish, and Undercommon.
Yeah, so I would just say in Orcish she was under a spell. I could yank her out, but she might not be very pleasant about it.
You think she was possessed? I respond in Orcish.
Yes. I have the object of the curse or something like that with me, but we need to investigate it a little bit more.
Hence the imprints on her hand, and I
Yes.
turn her hand over for. Well done, Basil.
Thank you, sir.
Sally,
We
is
should
Orcish
probably-
one of your languages as well? I can't remember.
You talking to me, Kevin?
No, to Sally. I was wondering if she could overhear what you guys are talking about. Oh, you're muted, James. So I can see your lips moving, but cannot hear.
It looks like it was going to be
Coughing,
good.
so I put myself on mute. No, I've got Undercommon, Common, Aquan, and Algolithu. So,
Okay.
no.
Okay, so you can hear them talking in Orcish. I think you guys have been around each other well enough. Does Basil have Undercommon as a language as well?
Yes.
So that is
But
one that
I
all
don't-
of you guys would know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would suspect that someone else in the room might know it as well.
Servant.
Okay. Okay. So then, anything else do you guys wish to do at the Ivywood's house? He has offered to compensate you beyond your regular fees in order to investigate this. He makes no mention of any objects or anything like that. He just seems to take that she fainted and all of you guys ran up to check on her. That's what, or she screamed and all of you guys ran up to check on her.
And what is Undercommon? What is the nature of that, Kevin? What is that?
Undercommon is, I think, Ratfolk or Yasaki use that as their preferred language. It's also used by like Drow or any things that sort of live in the depths of the earth. It doesn't have like it's the sort of like lingua franca of the in Pathfinder and in AD&D. It's sort of the language that's shared by like Drow or Dvergar or Mind Flayers or all sorts of things that sort of live in the unwelcoming depths of the underworld.
He'll try it since we all know it, and he will say for both of them to hear. Do you think this is part of this current investigation? Her possession?
Yes.
Should we report this to the client now, or should we reconvene?
We should reconvene first. I think the client does not know, and he probably does not want to know because he would not believe us.
Very well. And you'll just use the cloth to look doing doctor things, sponging your face and whatnot.
Okay. So if there's nothing else, guys, then what we can do is first welcome Carl. Hi, Carl.
Hello. How's it going?
Not too bad. So Carl joins us playing Hannibal Ducard, the Dampier gunslinger with a clockwork arm.
Yep.
Now, Carl, I can't remember offhand. Were you here for part 1 of Endless Odyssey? You were, yes, because you spotted. Yeah,
that was a party.
Yeah. So I think what
and the seance.
What I think what happened in the interim, Carl, is that the reason to explain sort of your absence is you actually spotted a pretty pale-looking urchin lurking near one of the windows. Someone clearly not dressed for the weather, which is not unusual for street kids in Paridar, unfortunately. But you've spent the last day or so trying to track down where this kid is. I think still, hope springs eternal on from your perspective that the Ghoul Father, Clovis Potter, may still be out there and around. And recent revelations seem to suggest when Dr. Green told you that one of their secret transports of the serum was actually targeted and not stolen, but destroyed this time.
Destroyed, yeah.
So I think if this will be the afternoon of the day afterwards, Golag, Sally, and Basil, if you've got nothing else happening here, we can bring everyone back together at the offices of Shadow Illuminations. Dr. Earthsprung was planning on meeting and perhaps bringing back more people from the back to the sanatorium to Innsmouth. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
So you guys arrive back. Let me get the correct tokens up here. Boom. You guys arrive back at the offices of Shadow Illuminations. And I think probably Hannibal would be the first one back, followed shortly by Dr. Earthsprung. Now, Darren, you mentioned you had an idea.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on something that Morris Watson Foal was saying. I don't know if I've actually spoken to Sally and Basil yet. That was the only thing. So I don't think they filled me in yet. But when they do, then I wanted to look into using these blossoms as a sort of almost early detection device, like just having like a wristband or something. So if anyone was using any sort of deception or magic, they would see that the petals had sort of shriveled up or been damaged, so that they know that someone was about or
there
something
was
going on.
One of the developments that Dr. Earthsprung learned last time was that you may remember, Golag, that there is one of the things you find all across Paridar are these strange white blossoms that grow out of existing plants. And they're so ubiquitous to the point that there is a popular pub song called The White Blossoms of Paridar that is often sung in rounds once people are deep in their pints, in particular some of the working class taverns around Paridar. Dr. Earthsprung, what was it that you noticed about the white blossoms?
Well, when we was at the seance, some sort of magic, we're all sort of coming to the assumption that some sort of magic was used during this seance, and it was almost being channeled through these blossoms, and during that process all of the moisture and anything within the blossom was sort of destroyed. They were dried out, and I think Basil and Sally had found out that it was used in any sort of deception magic, that they use these blossoms as some sort of channeling sort of item or material, something like that. So yeah, I was going to try and get a bit of fine wire or something, and because I've got some of these blossoms in my at home or in the surgery place, that I was going to just make some sort of little bracelets or chains that everyone could wear on their wrists as some sort of, like I say, early detection or some sort of identifier if any sort of weird deceptive magic was being used in our investigations.
Dr. Earthsprung also had challenges recently with the white blossoms.
We're trying to grow the plants to replicate the vampiric serum, but hopefully my good friend Abraham Raycroft is going to help me with that. He's looking into that for me.
So we'll maybe open with so Hannibal. Unfortunately, you have not found yet any further evidence. There definitely your eyes weren't playing tricks on you when you went to investigate. You found small footprints in the in the snow outside of the balcony outside the window, and definitely higher than what would be safe for a young child. And they were barefoot as well. So in again, not unusual, but the combination of it being so high up and barefoot and seemingly comfortable in the snow does make you think of those kids that all piled onto Clovis the last time you saw him. You're back at the office of Shadow Illuminations when Dr. Earthsprung arrives back from his meeting. So you guys find yourself together in the kind of office or the salon.
I mean, we're just waiting for the others really to get an update from what their investigations have found.
Maybe Hannibal is standing before the map and whatnot, because we know that Basil has been marking things about in different parts of Paridar on there. Perhaps Hannibal, you're following on the tutelage you're getting from Basil. You're beginning to track spottings of these kids. So you're putting one of your own colored pins on there. And that's when Golag, Sally, and Basil will return. You see there's a heavily burdened servant, Sylvan, who has everyone's coats on him, and you guys all walk in and you find Hannibal and Dr. Ersprung waiting for you.
Good. We need to reconvene. Sylvan, we'll need refreshment. And
of course,
perhaps
sir.
some hors d'oeuvres.
Indeed, sir. And he turns and, you can see a little bit of his head above the winter coats. He disappears to go and collect that stuff, closing the door with his hand somehow still balancing all those coats.
I've given him a lot to balance over the years, so he's been well.
Definitely. So, with everyone returned, what do you guys want to talk about?
And I think I asked Basil probably on the way if he is well. I mean, if he, if he suffered any ill.
Yeah, it's just some. I think it's like burning marks or something like that. So it's just, I burned my hand.
It's a little bit of scorching on his the fur around his hands.
From the stone, was it?
Yes. I
Good.
think we should just keep it in the handkerchief right now and look at it later in a safer place, I suppose.
Agreed. All right, and then flash forward back to the meeting, or now that we're there. And
so Golag, one of your cantrips. You don't have detect magic prepared, although you could have. You're free to change your cantrips every day. Currently, anything that's listed as one, you don't need to list like numbers of uses of your cantrips. What you can do now, though, is you can select what you would have prepared for the day. So you have 3 spells. You can prepare spells more than once if you want to cast them more than one time. And if you want to learn what your spells do, you can click on that white triangle to the right, and that will display the full rules for the different spells.
I mean, to help with this on the fly, I will maybe a theme, and I'll maybe I was thinking that I was probably in investigation mode today, with a meeting and maybe getting hired and some initial observations and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think that's reasonable, and that might inform us that he would possibly have detect magic prepared. He'd have something like, he'd have object reading, and what else? He'd have, probably command is the closest, because the other ones are more attack, more combat oriented.
Sure. So why don't you give us an occultism check, please?
Okay.
And why don't you tell us also what your magic seems to be focused around shadow. So what does it look like when you activate your magic, when you cast your magics?
So I was thinking, forgot to mention that I probably had the shadow tattoo going on. So and it was peeking out of my I'm thinking that I haven't quite completely. I've got some notion in my mind that I should have some kind of signature flair, in my marketing. There's a better word for that in this world, but the modern word would be marketing. Yeah. And it had to do with the shadow peeking out of his probably the coat, the neck of his coat. So he'd done that with him kind of perspiring and worrying about being late. He had the shadow kind of peeking out and down his wrists and this kind of thing, so it could be seen as a sort of strange manifestation that clients could look at, wondering like, oh, what is that? This kind of a thing. Yeah. So anyway, it lights up as he does his magic. It's going to flare a bit, not in a wildly magic way, but in a sort of mystical way. It sort of moves, and this kind of thing.
Oh, all right. So then, why don't you give us an occultism check, and let's see what you can tell about this thing. That's not a great roll based on your level and your proficiency. You want to spend a hero point?
I'll hero point it. I will.
Okay. It's good news because it's just in time for another hero point.
Nice. There we go. Okay, and occultism.
Look at that. Look at that. All right. So critical success tells us.
And maybe I looked at it and furrowed my brow, but then walked over to a bookshelf, an ever-present, ubiquitous bookshelf of the office, and go, wait. Reached up to a big tome, and on second thought, and
well, there is actually something more personal in this connection, and what you see. Bear with me a moment here. Look on one thing. What you guys can see is as Golag is examining this thing, there is a very, very soft reddish glow that comes to it. Just as if like a little mote of light in the center of this thing. And actually, let me change over the music as well, too. This is realizing way more tense. This is Basil's in trouble music, not, Okay, here we go. I think that's the one. Yeah, okay. So what you see is that there are Basil's eyes, as that thing glows red, Basil's eyes are suddenly completely consumed by black. And as you're looking at this, and you can see more in this than what than what the layperson can, because you've got your magically attuned senses. And you can see that there are hungry tendrils, almost like writhing snakes of shadow, that just crawl and weave through this. And Golag begins speaking something, and those of you who attended the seance, you can hear the same language. You don't know what the words mean, but he's saying something kind of casually. And he makes his way over towards the bookshelf, as you say, and your hand kind of goes around and it lands on a tome that is, it was written by in a foreign language, and it was one of the treasured pieces that you collected when you were putting together your bizarre occultic library. And it specifically deals, this may be of interest to you, Golag, with shadow magic.
Ooh.
Now, sadly, you don't speak the language. Absent any kind of magical interference, you don't speak the language of this. Notwithstanding the sort of associations with this, you bring this and place the big heavy tome down that is written on kind of a... it is a... almost like a fine... not leather, but some kind of treated skin that has a distinctly almost midnight blue color to it. It looks black until the light hits it, and then you can see there's a sheen of blue across it. And the magic, the type of magic that's in here is definitely would fit in the occultic tradition as opposed to the arcane tradition. Remember, arcane is sort of the ritualized practice that skilled users can learn and follow rituals and whatnot. Occultism is the oddball collection of other types of magics that are either experimental or ancient or a combination of the two. It's Harry Potter versus Aleister Crowley.
And I'm a witch, so I'm in the occult, right?
You're in the occult, absolutely, yeah. And what you can tell is that this is a powerful piece. This is beyond being a bizarre, piece of jewelry. The magical purpose of this is to serve as an anchor for some kind of conjuring ritual with which you are not familiar. And a ritual, you may remember, is there's a difference in Pathfinder 2 between your spells, which are the things you memorize and you cast off, and at certain times, and rituals, which take time and usually like materials and whatnot in order to evoke a specific effect. This thing serves as an anchoring for some kind of conjuring effect. It is a rare enough one that you're not familiar with it, but you definitely think it has something to do, or at least not the full particulars. It definitely has something to do with shadow magic.
I think he had been he's absentmindedly tracing his finger around the edge of the binding in a sort of adulation way around this book that he's clearly fond of, and he gets lost in it momentarily, and then kind of looks up, maybe as Sylvan, breaks the reverie with a tray of whatever.
Yeah.
Apologies.
There's
we
something.
Seem to. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
We seem to have here something to do with shadow magic, and his eyes, go wide. Like and there's a little, his tattoo kind of gives a little warble, and he says, this appears to be have a conjuring purpose, an anchor for some kind of magical effect. It's quite rare. I have not encountered it before, and I'm still ruffling around in the pages.
Yeah, and what you guys, anyone who has any familiarity around magics or whatnot, and no one, I don't think any of you guys have training in Arcana, do you?
I have a 4.
Yeah, the doctor does.
Oh, training. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So then, Dr. Ursprung and Golag, if you guys have training in it, what you would know is that there are, you likely saw some kind of like planar orrery at some point at Collingwood University that shows the different planes of existence, and there are bizarre planes that are, almost like Platonic ideals of different kinds of elements. A crude understanding that would be offered by the mages is that the prime world that you exist on, that you live on, is a combination of all the different elements from the different spheres. But those include things like the plane of fire, the plane of earth, the plane of air, and then stranger border realms that exist beyond and between the two. Superseding all of that and almost infusing all the different regions is this insidious and alien plane called the plane of shadow. The inhabitants there do not refer to it as that. They likely just refer to it as the void, or a translation of that, a common translation. Shadow magics are particularly difficult and particularly unpredictable because they refuse to be bound by the same principles that mages have been able to master: fire, air, water, those kinds of things. Golag, your ancient traditions that you used in order to bind yourself to your shadow and free it as part of your pact involves dealing with the mercurial and unpredictable and untrustworthy creatures of the plane of shadow. And you can see that in this book, there are illustrations of one of the ways to summoning an elemental or something like that is something that powerful mages can do. You've seen probably something similar where there's been, vocal displays of, say, like on the Paridar equivalent of Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes Day, when they tried to blow up the Paridar, Parliament. Mages might summon a great fire elemental to service as the enormous bonfire or whatnot. No such, magics work with a shadow elemental. So you find that this, there are ways that certain, and maybe you're as you're flipping through this book, you land on, you still can't read it because it is in a tongue with which you're not familiar. There are ways of sort of helping that process along through odd and forgotten rites. And that can involve jewelry.
I think that his shadow has crept off his arm without me really noticing, and is kind of laying on the book now, or sort of like an overlay, because of its nature. Where we're at, kind of thing. And I can't quite see, like the pages are dark, so I kind of sweep it, out of the way a little bit, the shadow. And then I start talking, and it moves for me, and then I start talking to everyone about the plane of shadow, I say excitedly, and then back to the pages, and muttering what I'm finding.
So what do the rest of you guys make of this?
Well, the doctor will be quite worried, because obviously the plane of shadow is not a place to be trifled with, and you've only heard bad things of it from his experience. it's like, well, magic's mysterious enough as it is, but that's evil magic.
It's almost like the instinctive reaction of living creatures to be afraid of the dark could be attributed to a fundamental understanding of the perils of the void.
So
Yeah.
the girls are likely to be possessed by some kind of shadow.
I think they're gathering enough to summon something, maybe. Enough of them brainwashed almost to be used as some sort of toy or implement to summon.
When I was talking to Izora Ivywood, I was not talking to her, but I was talking to some kind of entity that was speaking through her. So that's why I think there's some kind of possession or something like that going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're being taken over to be used in this ritual, maybe, or summoning, and their bodies may be discarded afterwards, or, you know, they're just things to be used. He's gathering enough people, isn't he? They're under his control.
The stone would seem to be used for a conjuring, so perhaps it has conjured this entity that possesses her.
But there seems to be a lot of those stones. So each of the woman in the coven had one, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, the whole cult, or whatever you want to call it, around the table had one.
Oh, at the seance.
Yes.
Does that? Do you think that implies that that each of them are possessed in this way?
I suppose that would at least explain why they stopped talking to their families and distanced themselves and so on. And
I see.
just a very theoretical idea, but so we have seen this woman who is always almost hidden and really hard to find and spot, and she had this cat, and maybe, I don't know, is it still that cats are maybe easier possessed than other creatures? Could this be some kind of I don't know. Maybe I think she's an expert in the art of conjuring. Maybe she conjured some shadow demon into her cat, and they made up this whole ruse.
Golag looks down at his shadow, and albeit it's an untraditional one or non-traditional one, definitely not unusual for casters to have familiars of some kind that are infused with or are manifestations of some kind of magic.
Because if I remember correctly, the cat's eyes also had this dark, shadowy.
Yep, and it had a stone on a...
Yeah, and it had a stone also.
Yeah.
The cat, yeah.
An intriguing notion, Basil. Indeed, a familiar can take many forms. And tell me, I unfortunately was indisposed prior, but so what was the theme of this seance? It was part of a party. Am I correct in that? Looking at the group.
Yeah. It was like I suppose it was more like maybe like an advertisement, I would suppose. So, I mean, they were doing their thing, and all the noble people, excuse me, Sally, all the noble people were there, and they cherished in this performance. But then again, I mean, he could get money and new followers by sharing this, and it was a very, very dramatic performance. So, if I don't know. I think it was more to attract new followers and to gain influence in certain circles.
So, go ahead, Doctor.
I was just going to say he's portraying himself as an entertainer, and the nobles find it exciting, interesting, and they all want to be involved. The people that were taking part were saying they'd seen their previous lives and all sorts of weird and wonderful things during this short period of this seance where they were under the influence of this magic or whatever his control he had over them.
And they brought the stones with them themselves, or did he distribute the stones as part of the seance?
I think all the members of this, what we're calling a cult, seem to have these stones. And the new people that were introduced, I don't know if they're given a stone. I've managed to set up a meeting tomorrow with one of the previous, I don't know what you would call it, a victim almost. Now at the Innsmouth Institute, they think she's quite mad, but she speaks a similar language to what you were just speaking a few minutes ago when looking at that book. Some strange clicking language.
So having her I guess having seen now some context for the language in this tome, you guys, let me just check the difficulty would be. This is going to be a little challenging here. Difficulty is going to be 19, but you guys can give us society checks. Let's see if you can... or arcane or occultism. I think any of those might lead to this. Nat 1 from Basil. Nice.
Not Hannibal.
Not Hannibal yet. Okay, Dr. Ursprung. Golag. So there is a alphabet that is used, and Nat 20 from Sally. Look at that. Sally knows for certain what this is. Now there is a curious bit of familiarity. Sally does not speak it, but she has seen it. There is a language that is said to have originated from some kind of deranged hermit among the darkest reaches of the darkest depths of the underworld. And it was a mad dark elf who's said to have created this. And what this alphabet was a strange way of putting into written language the speech of the creatures of the void. And he called it Shadow Tongue. The curious thing about that is all those thousands of years ago when this dark elf is said to have originated it, it passed on, and other speakers of Shadow Tongue would continue on with that language and using that same alphabet as a comfortable way of referencing things, of referencing the same inhuman language or inhuman mean of communication amongst the creatures of the void. The reason this is of interest to you, Sally, is because your people, who you speak so little about, they use the same markings among their people to reference the Shadow Tongue. Unsurprisingly, in the utter blackness of the benthic depths that you call home, there are some who turn to that darkness to find power and privilege, or power and position. So seeing this, even though they'll say, like, I think Dr. Ursprung maybe is the one who shares that, like, he'd heard stories about this is a language, from whatever else. Sally, you recognize this is, however else, other people may just be taking this on as a point of convenience. It just so happens that your people, independent of anyone else on land, happen to make use of the exact same markings.
So this is all a bit deep and, not some minor, a land-based cult.
No, definitely
No
something
delusions.
Ancient and primordial.
Well,
I think it would be very interesting to speak to the Lady Ivywood again tomorrow. Now, once she's recovered from her episode that you described now that she hasn't got that stone.
Izora.
May I ask not to be there for?
Well, it would be interesting to see if she even has memory of the encounter. What this has done to her, and relieving her of that stone. Yeah, what state she's in now.
And you gave us the full report, Basil, on what happened in that room and your thoughts of it. Yeah.
So one thing.
I think that's a good idea.
I'm sorry, Golak, you realized that my eyes had turned black as well?
Oh, that's right. What caused that, Kevin? At what point did Basil's eyes?
Oh, sorry, that was Golag's eyes. Sorry, that turned black. I maybe said Basil because I had it in front of me. Golag's eyes, as he was doing it, he is the one who turned black. Sorry, guys.
That'd be more of a concern of Basil's eyes.
Yeah.
Golag's is probably okay.
Yeah, his possession is much more subtle.
Yeah.
But this stone itself, you don't think by holding that or handling it, it's not having any effect on you, Golak?
I'm assuming that Golag has only touched it with as Basil described, like wrapped in a handkerchief. It does not appear to be something that. So there are rituals that there are items that you would use to help perform the rituals, magical things that make it easier for the person who is in charge, who is working that. There are also magical items or enchanted things that can help focus the effect of the ritual. This is one of the latter. So if you are holding this and using it, it makes it easier for that ritual to be worked on you. I'll leave it to you to judge whether it's safe to handle then.
I mean, I have pictured that that probably Golag's the type to probably have some gem tools, just like a tray, and probably like one of the jeweler's
lens,
right. And he probably
it's not called a lens. There is an actual word for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it a jeweler's eye? I can't remember what they.
There's something there. Yeah.
Anyway.
But he probably has, and also, in the same theme, like he has probably a tong, but there's a much better word for it.
Yeah, fair.
Not the fireplace kind, but the jeweler's kind that, to give it. And he's definitely got the velvet. If you went to a jeweler and they spread that velvet out a little bit to like put a. So he probably has not handled it, especially since we assumed it was magical. Like it's just presumed to have some kind of. So he's probably following some protocols. But I guess I respond to you, Doctor. He says, no, I think we're okay, but we should not take any chances until we know even more.
We should. So we had this case, where we found this medallion and then it was gone. So maybe, just maybe, we should never let our eyes from it. So just keep it somewhere that we have always someone guarding it. I don't know if they want it back. Let me put it this way.
What is my thoughts on the danger of it, Kevin? Do you think I could keep it even on my person, and it would be?
It's difficult to say how much warding would be necessary for it, like a simple cloth or whatnot. It may very well be. If this was used in a ritual, rituals don't just happen suddenly. It's something that does require concentration and work and whatnot. For all the show that the seance put on, all the unnecessary displays and whatnot that the others can describe for you, that they witnessed, that's not far off from the truth in as far as how much effort goes into it. So if there was an effect, if this was an anchoring point for some kind of ritual before and it has been broken, they may need time in order to work it again. But once they do, it's probably not a wise idea to have it carried around with you. You may still be subject to whatever working allowed this to affect the mom. I guess the question is how on earth did she get that as well? Or one question.
Would you like me to secure it in Igor? I don't feel that he would be under any influence if if someone tried such a,
That's a wonderful idea.
I can secure it, and he will carry it quite welcomely.
One of the little storage things and opens up in Igor's chest.
It's a machine, or it's some kind of device, or it's a.
Yes, mechanical.
Is that autonomous? We're going to avoid robots and shadow robot.
Yeah, Kevin, is that,
I look forward to finding the stats for that.
is it? Do I have any thoughts on? Do any of us have any thoughts on shadow with mechanics? Is it better? Is that offer an advantage? Do I think? Do I have any thought on that?
On the.
Like it'd be that's a better arrangement. Is it more of an organic?
Yeah, I mean so one of the things where it's the inventor, I think, this is from a mechanical perspective, the inventor is an interesting different class from, say, the artificer in D&D, is that the inventor's abilities are all mechanical, like they're all scientific designs and whatnot. That means that Igor is genuinely a construct. He is not a droid with a personality and whatnot, the way that 3PO or R2 are, or stuff like that. Like, he is full on a construct, which means he doesn't have the mind necessary to be affected by that type of effect. He doesn't have a soul that, say, what was your colleague's name again? Sepulcher. Sepulcher is a construct who does have a soul. That may be imperiled by this kind of device, by that kind of magic. Igor, he's a tool. No offense, man,
idea,
Igor.
Doctor.
That's a bit rude.
His shoulders slump.
You just treat me like an object.
Good idea, Doctor. And I wrap it in its cloth and hand it to Dr. Erskine.
Yeah, I'll secure it somewhere out of sight and nowhere obvious to find it, if anyone knew.
Okay, nice. What do you have? I don't care if you're trained. Give us a thievery check. Let's see how well this thing is concealed from the casual observer.
This might not be so good. Oh,
18's pretty good. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So then, guys, anything else? Well, I guess what is the Dr. Earthsprung? You had something you wanted to discuss, that prospect of the petals.
Yeah. So while he was waiting, he may have had time to just string together some of these petals or blossoms from this plant that he's got in his surgery. So he's made these really crude, sort of, like I say, bracelets for everyone, and he hands them out. I believe that if there's any sort of magic that uses deception or any sort of thing, that this may give us an early warning, or if you're suspicious of anything during our investigations, a simple look at this, you may see that the petals have whittled or disintegrated or been damaged, and that will give you an idea that someone's hiding or some sort of magic is afoot. So I thought it may be useful, and I'll just hand them out.
Oh, splendid.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So I was just one thing. So the Izora Ivywood, she went and spoke to Augustus Thorngrove, if I recall correctly. So I think that is where she got the stone.
I think both parents went, but they obviously could have been separated at some point. But her husband went with her, but that doesn't mean anything.
And I think they were turned away by a young woman too. They didn't actually speak to Thorngrove.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we given this Augustus Thorngrove's position and with this seance and whatnot? Are we looking at him as a primary suspect? Would you say in all of this?
Well, he's obviously involved, isn't he? But I think the hidden woman, Gwendolyn, seems to be the main potential culprit. Am I right in thinking that?
think that Thorngrove is just the face to the operation, and she is the mastermind behind it.
There was something else that, Basil, you had an opportunity as well last session to meet with Miss Carrington.
Carrington, yes.
Of the Paridar Times. Do you remember what she had indicated?
No, not. I mean, it doesn't spring to mind right now.
So what she had mentioned was that there was a servant of someone named
yes.
Lady Peyton Hall. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, Claire Tabina was this.
Yes.
And there was some incident with Thorngrove, but I just wrote down incident with Thorngrove and not what kind of incident.
So what she had mentioned is that there's, they actually, that's not far off from what Annabelle knew. There was some kind of incident involving the servant who was then dismissed from Lady Peyton Hall's care. And Annabelle had not yet been able to track down the woman, though she agreed to share the name Claire Tabiner with Basil on the understanding that if there is a story here, it will come back to Annabelle.
Yes.
So, that is a lot for you guys to contemplate. And Golag, you said your shadow was sort of lurking around that Shadow Tongue book that you were seeing. What then happens is almost like, tell us what it feels like when your shadow suddenly appears back on your body. Because I really don't know. That's something that only Golag would know. Does it feel like something physically there, or is there a chilling kind of feel, or burning?
I think, and its default manifestation is as my shadow. If I'm, unless something triggers it. So like the tome kind of triggered it. You know, I'm thinking...
No, it was drifting around there as you guys are having a conversation. Something has caused it to suddenly appear back on your body. I just want to know if there's I'm sure there's some kind of physical sensation that happens.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's because it would be of a mystical feel. Like it would, the hair on the back of my neck goes up. I mean, but in this case, you know, in an odd turn, it's reassuring for me. You know.
So it's come running back to you, and it doesn't do that. It's almost like the feeling or the impression you get is like when a pet runs underneath its master's legs, seeking comfort. Would you each give us a perception check, please? I'm telling them, Anna. Come on. Nice. Dr. Earthstrong, holy smokes. Nat 1 from Sally. There you go. Well, if you're going to do poorly, you might as well do really poorly. Good from Golag as well, too. Nope. Did we lose Carl in Zoom as well? We did. Hold on here.
He's back, I think.
Still in Zoom. I'm still in Zoom.
Oh, are you? Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't find... I can't find perception. I know it's perception is where initiative is.
Yeah, so it's underneath there on the right.
It's perceive and initiative. Just press on the perceive.
Oh, got it.
Okay.
Got it.
25. Nice.
Yep.
So, tell us, Hannibal, like you've been fairly quiet during the whole discussion about this stuff. Where's Hannibal's mind right now?
Yeah, we're still at the. We haven't gone anywhere.
No, you're still in the study, discussing sort of the particulars of the current investigation.
Yeah, he's kind of been concerned, like how excited like Golag is about this shadow thing for sure. So you know, he's just looking around, making sure no one's, you know, Adam or Dr. Unsprung being, you know, cautious about these things. He's kind of looking around, I would say.
Okay.
Observing, quiet, not because, you know, he's just concerned about these guys, and they always talk about delving into this unknown stuff, and it always gets us into trouble.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a rich inner conflict going on with Hannibal as he's listening to all these crazy ideas exchanged back and forth, and that's maybe why you notice that suddenly the tattoo, the shadow tattoos, appears back on Golag's face, and he moves back as if he didn't expect it. Like it's the kind of like, oh, and your eyes quickly, kind of, you're keen to and trained to be looking for trouble. Mm-hmm. And what you can see is that there are, everywhere there are shadows being cast, they begin to get longer. And they're stretching out in a strange and unusual way. And I think, Dr. Earthsprung, you also notice this. And it may be because you're just in the position to notice that maybe the shadow being cast by Igor, it just gets a little bit longer and begins twisting across the floor like a spilled liquid that is moving. The lights in the room flicker a bit. And Hannibal, you've got something, I can't remember what it is, but you've got something that triggers during initiative. Do you remember what that is? I just want to give you a chance to take advantage of that.
I don't think so.
Maybe I can... Let's see here. Let me just quickly take a peek here. Maybe it's something that's when you roll initiative, you're able to get a weapon out. Maybe that's just what I'm thinking of.
I think I have like a quick draw.
Yeah, I think, I don't remember offhand. I thought that... Hannibal did have something that, look at your feats here.
Feats,
and, into the fray.
Quick draw.
You can interact with one-handed weapon and then interact to draw a one-handed melee. As the first action on your turn, you can stride as a free action towards an enemy you can perceive. So this totally fits with all that.
Oh, that's into the fray, right?
Yeah. So this will be a first round. So, guys, what you can see beginning to form on the floor is a strange sort of puddle, and then suddenly something full of writhing tendrils and grasping hands bursts out of this. We'll have everyone click on their token. You can click on initiative, and then we'll take our mid-session break.
Okay,
let me get this token up here as well.
I forgot. I didn't click on my token. Damn it.
Oh, that's good. I can add your token in here.
Okay.
Hannibal, you can add whatever you rolled in there.
Okay.
Okay. And let's see here. Oh, I wonder. So give me a chance to grab my card too. Okay, let's see. Okay. Now, I don't know. Let me just put this on the GM's layer first in case there are any... I know that in D&D 5, most of the stuff, it's default so players can see everything automatically, which is not ideal. Oh, man, but look at this illustration, though. Hold on, guys. Allow me to show you. Let me strip out the pertinent stuff here. I think there's some description. There we go. All right, guys, this is what pulls itself up. So, allow me to adjust this here. None. Here we go. Alrighty. So then we will take our mid-session break, and we will come back and see what happens next. So your bottom overlapping. Perfect. All right, I'm bringing this to token layer. Let me roll for initiative for this thing. Quickly. Oh, Anna clearly knows what's going on, because she had just come running in. Is it break time, sweetie? Break time. Yeah. Good girl. All right, I rolled a 19 for initiative. All right, so then, guys, we will be back in a moment. So we'll have a mid-session break, and then we'll be back momentarily, folks. Back in 5 minutes. All right. Hi. Good girl. All right, so we're almost all back here. Nice. I see Dave's in chat. Hey, Dave, what's going on? Anna is in today's game, yes. She has made herself known. Okay. It is such a small thing, but one of my favorite things for Pathfinder. Second is these the monster cards. They have my favorite monster cards of any game I've run, partly because they're oversized, because they're much bigger than a playing card, so my eyes don't strain to see them, but they're great accessory.
They come in that Grim and Beetle thing as well.
Monster cards do. Maybe you mean in the Absalon one?
Well, that Curse of Strahd.
Oh yes,
you get the one, and you put it over so you get the picture on one side, the stats
those
on
things
the
are
other side.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot you won that right in the raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're all back, guys. So then we have Dr. Earthsprung is up first before this thing can spring into action. So Dr. Earthsprung, you have 3 actions. What would you like to do? This thing, as you can picture, in the middle of this room. The room's probably about maybe 15 by 20 or 15 by 25.
Yep. So I've never used this before. I'm just wondering, would intimidating
I love sentences
glare,
that start that way.
would intimidating glare work on such a thing? It's like a demoralization.
Depends on if this thing is a creature of either like the outer planes or of undeath. Unlikely.
Yeah,
unless it has some. Yeah, typically it's a good idea, but that's normally on things with thinking minds that that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean I've never encountered something like this, so I shall send Igor forward to just take a swipe at it and see if it has any effect at all.
So it's 1 action to give Igor 2, and you could give 2 of your actions to give him 3. What are you thinking?
I'll give him 2 actions, give him 3. So he's going to move towards it and then take a swipe at it.
Okay, so go ahead and click on Igor's first strike, and then you have 1 more action left over as well.
Okay.
So Igor's first attack, click on number 1 there. Let's see how he does. Nice attack, solid hit. So 11 points of bludgeoning damage. Now, what it seems is that as he swings that fist through it, it seems to only partially connect with it. Bits of its flesh are torn away, and you can hear the sound of like tearing fabric, but it's not like thick burlap. It's like soft, delicate silk kind of tearing. So it his massive brass fists should be doing more damage to this thing.
But it does have some effect, so he will try again.
Okay, so actually what you do... attack number 2, perfect. Darren, you're already a fucking old hand at this. That unfortunately does not. This is a follow-up strike. This thing seems to writhe away, so it moves through more shadow and insubstantial material. Dr. Armstrong, you have 1 more action. What would you like to do?
Just thinking... I don't think he's going to have his shield with him. I just don't think he would have had it. I was going to use that.
So examples of things you might do, you could like seek to try and see if there's any information you could gather. You could get a weapon ready.
Yeah, I mean, is there any way of trying to learn what it is, or any weaknesses, anything like that?
Sure. Give us a... So seek is just sort of the general way of trying to gather information. It's to settle that question of like, does it cost me anything to make a perception check? Question from other versions of D&D. Give us what are you thinking you're using here, or what are you relying on? Just your senses, or like some of your expertise?
I think it's I'm probably still going with the Arcana sort of approach, because that seems to be where I'm getting my knowledge from for this whole investigation. Okay. With the language and all that sort of thing.
Sure. Give us an Arcana check then, please.
See if I think it's magical.
Wow. Okay. So this is one of the most rudimentary, because your mind has been on this stuff, one of the most rudimentary ways of sort of piggybacking a creature from the void or from the plane of shadow is to infuse it into the remnants of someone's dead spirit. And you're pretty certain that's what this fucking thing is it is manifesting and looking like shadow, but at its core, it may be a dead soul that is that's sort of anchoring this thing here.
Right, but that wouldn't really give me any insight to how to damage it better.
Quite possibly, because if it is an undead thing, often the radiant power of the heavenly host or similar things can have a much out of its depth, effect on these things. You think of how Hannibal's magically infused pistol was blazing away at that undead. What do you call it? That Major Fitzhume.
Okay, I'll just say that it's a tortured soul, and just see if that helps any of the others with their actions.
Speaking of the tortured soul, it then, with those tendrils writhing out, it will take its first effect, and I think, because Igor was the first one struck. What is Igor's AC?
His AC is 17.
17, okay. Oh, that's not great. I mean, that's fine. That's great. I'm sure he's going to be fine.
Solid this.
All right, so this thing, the tendrils all sort of come in from different angles and reach onto Igor and begin trying to tear away. So it is a hit. It's not a crit, thankfully. But Igor takes, let's see here, 10 points of damage from some of these. Then its second attack is going to try and follow up again. That's a minus. Is it agile? Nope. Okay, so it is 10. It's a 19. It's a hit again. More grab onto him. Another 10 points of damage. Jeez Louise. And then its final attack. This is at minus 10. It's only plus 5 here. That one misses. But you can see this. You can hear the creaking of the brass bolts, some of the soldering is beginning to come free as this thing's trying to basically pull them apart. Hannibal.
I can see improvements for Mark IV already.
Hannibal, what are you doing?
Hannibal, no, I'm good.
Okay.
I guess he's going to move up to it.
Okay, so as a free action, you leap to your feet.
And I have a quick draw too. I don't know if that helps. So I can strike.
That's your
strike
as a single interact. You get both of your weapons out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna strike with the rapier. If I've seen Igor not do so great with his fist by himself, then
so and I'm assuming you're moving into sort of a flanking position on it as well.
Yeah,
too,
I'll move to a flank if I can.
Yep. And go right ahead.
So rapier, and the rapier is magical. I think if I can just click on it,
very
right?
nice. Although magic doesn't work quite the same way in PF2, like it does need to be the thing. So that is a hit, not a crit. Go ahead and roll damage. Okay. And remember to click on the top one, guys, because it rolls everything all at once.
Oh, the clock. Okay, I thought that the bottom one. That's fine.
That's okay.
Right, so only 4 points of damage.
Oh, so your thing cuts through it. Let's see here. That seems to have no effect. I think you were doing a cautious kind of strike, and it's got an unusual things. Now that actually, that would have been a miss. Okay, so then Hannibal, you are into the fray. Basil, what are you doing?
Oh, that's all I can do is.
Yeah, because it was hold on. Your stride, interact to draw both. Oh no, you got one more attack. Click on number 2. Sorry, Carl.
Yeah. I'll shoot it then. It does more damage.
Okay.
So
let's see here.
I thought, I missed a second.
Okay, so that one is unfortunate.
A miss.
Yeah, a miss. All right, Basil, you're up. What are you doing?
All right.
I spent the first action to yell at Adam, "Not Igor, remember!" Hoping that he remembers.
Oh, yeah, because that thing's inside Igor. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a free action. You don't need to spend one of your actions to do that.
Sure. And then I would devise a stratagem. I think I could maybe find some kind of weakness. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of candle light or whatever. Some things. This is a 15.
Okay.
And I would use the 15 to shoot at it.
Okay. So go ahead and click on. Hold on. Did you interact to take your weapon out then?
Oh, yeah, I think I have to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have to tell me whether I hit or not. Because
Yeah, so 15. I don't know. You just click on the attack. Click on your number one attack and see if you rolled it, and then I can tell you. I think that's going to be a hit, just not a crit. So you can go ahead and click on number 1, and then that will tell us what your damage is.
Ranged strike.
There we go. Okay. So, 3. Now, your bonus, is that precision damage that you get from your...
I suppose, wait a minute. This is like a sneak attack for...
Yeah, it's like a sneak attack is precision damage, so this thing is actually immune to that kind of damage.
Okay.
So I think that you're trying to make a careful and studied shot on it, but unfortunately, your damage is not enough from the shot to injure it, and then the precision damage, it's immune to that. Let me just double check that that's the
yes, it's
the case.
Precision damage.
It is right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you shoot, and again, it passes seemingly right through this thing. That's only 2 of your actions. You got 1 more.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to say so. I can at least say now to Gulag, because this is a bonus of this stratagem. It is immune to this precision attacks or something, so it is flat-footed against.
You could say, yeah, it's got no vulnerable bits.
Yes.
Okay.
So this will work whether it is immune to precision or not. I can't share this flat-foot.
Okay.
And then I would just, I don't know.
You want to reload?
We need another strategy. I don't know. I'm thinking of something right now.
Okay.
And I will just...
So he's loses last. He's stunned that this didn't work. Golag, you're up next. What are you doing? 3 actions.
So what is my understanding of the? What is Golag's understanding of the shout? That it doesn't. It's not as to physical attacks then, or
as which? Sorry.
The hints, the shouts out that that Basil made about it. Golag, what does Golag take from that, you think?
I think what it is just that there's no vulnerable bits on it. Don't worry, don't waste time trying to hit some bit, just hit it. Seems that Igor had the right approach.
Right. Then he is going to cast Forbidden Ward, a cantrip on Igor.
Okay. So why don't you click on Forbidden Ward, and that'll tell us what it does. I can't remember if it's 1. Oh, so it is 2 actions. Nice, and then you can sustain it for up to a minute. So you take one action to sustain it.
Giving credit to Basil for his shout about a warning about Igor. Igor's probably a target.
Okay, so then what you see is there are binding shadow rituals that sort of appear across Igor to offer some measure of protection. You still have 1 more action. What would you like to do that?
I will try Shroud of Night, perhaps. It's a focus spell. Let me, let's see.
Okay, nice.
And try to draw shadow across the shadow.
Oh, interesting. Okay. They're blanketed in darkness. So
it's a 1 action is really its part of its attraction.
Yeah, Lord knows how it sees, right?
Right. Not sure. Giving it a shot.
Yeah. So it. I think what thematically what you're doing is you are trying to push back this thing's connection to the realms of light and whatnot to basically prevent it from clearly seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
So then I will give a let's see here. So I got a will save. I want my roll saves in chat here. So I do have a huge will save right now, but let's say 27. So critical success. So this thing, unsurprisingly, it's quite resistant to magic. So you know how your focus points work? I think you've got 1 or 2 focus points. You can recover those outside of combat when you take 10 minutes to sort of, focus yourself back again. But it means that you, if you're out of focus points, you cannot cast any more focus spells. Ms. Dumer, what are you doing?
I shall step forward, go into my tiger stance and.
You're
try
a
and
little
give
bit
it a good
quiet,
slap.
James. Your mic might be moved away from your.
Oh, it's it.
Oh, there
Sorry.
you go. Okay, yeah.
Then I will step forward,
Okay.
go into my tiger stance, and try and give it a good slapping.
Please do. Oh, solid hit. So that, likewise, it feels like you're tearing through seaweed. You mentioned that earlier, but like it's just, God damn it, it's not hitting with the effect that you would
No
hope.
contact.
So minus, let's see here. But it is hitting it, though. So that's your first attack.
Yeah, so let's go with
Number 2, that one, because you are flanking, it does hit, but it does not do any damage, unfortunately.
oops.
And then you have one more action. Oh, wait, you one action to get into Tiger Stance, one action to flurry, and then one action to move, right?
Yep.
Back to the top with
I'm done.
Dr. Ursprung. What are you doing?
Yeah, I shall let Igor have 2 actions.
Okay.
So first he'll take a swing.
It's not quite,
Which
even
is-
with the flanking. His performance. No, you could spend a hero point to re-roll that if you like.
Yeah, I will do actually.
Yeah. Nah, critical success. So that's 8 points of damage. All right.
That's much more like it.
There you go. Slow.
So that was his first one.
Yep.
Can he try and disengage, Igor?
Yeah, you can move back. So, like in Pathfinder, there's no only things that are expressly have attacks of opportunity as reactions can actually take attacks of opportunity. So he could easily move himself back. He's not actually grappled by this thing.
Okay. It's more just to delay it.
Sure.
So it sort of has to come at him again.
So it staggers back. Then Dr. Ursprung, you still have 2 more actions.
And then I'm going to actually charge in at it as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to just swing my Warhammer at it.
Did you have your Warhammer ready? I think.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have.
Okay.
No. So I'll get it out and
Move in.
engage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then it is this thing's turn. Okay. So we've had Hannibal and we've had Dr. Ursprung attack in melee. So first we'll go with Dr. Oh, no one's actually heard it yet of you two. So I'm going to roll randomly. 1 to 3, it's Hannibal. 4 to 6 is Dr. Ursprung. Dr. Ursprung, you were getting the attention. What is your AC, Dr. Ursprung?
17.
17. Okay, so I rolled a 25, so it's a hit, but not a crit. And you can feel this frigid chill cut through you as those tendrils wrap around you, and you take 9 points of negative energy damage. And then this, Hannibal, what is your AC?
Probably like a 16, 19 actually.
19,
Wow.
pretty good. Yeah, I thought you were quite high. All right, so 19. So I have plus 10 to hit you with this one. 17, I miss. So your strikes with your rapier and your shots have thrown this thing off. So the tendrils come out and you're able to duck and weave out of the way. Since I missed you, I'll follow up my last attack on you. I only have plus 5 with this one, but I roll 18, so it's 23. Not a crit, but a hit. Hannibal, you take also 9 points of damage. Now, does the what do you call it? Dampier, you don't have any special resistance to negative energy, do you?
Let's see. I think you have to like get a.
Wait, you have
for
negative
that.
healing, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. This actually might not have the desired effect on you. Hold on. Let's see here.
It says it does not take negative damage. Oh, no, that's me. Okay. Oh.
Yeah. So this thing infuses. Hannibal, you don't take any damage from it because you are healed by negative energy.
Wow.
So this thing tears into you and realizes its mistake as your body just, like, you have walked from the grave before. This has no peril on you.
That's crazy.
Its flickering eyes sort of look at you in a shocked expression, and then it is your turn. Hannibal, what are you doing?
Well, I have to. The first thing I got to do is try to strike it again with the rapier. Hopefully, I get.
Okay.
And then with that, and then I can reload if I hit Well, if I strike, I can reload. So that's
Reload for free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So up here.
Look at that solid hit, but again, no fucking damage.
Yeah.
But you did hit though, so you in a studied action, your pistol's reloaded.
Yep. So let's try again.
Okay.
Come on.
Now you got lots of hero points. You want to spend a hero point, re-roll that?
Yeah, I'll re-roll it.
Okay.
Guys are a 5 on the dice, so yeah. There
you go. Shit.
Still not.
Still
Rolling awful for damage.
It does seem like it recoils a little bit from the light, though, of the shot. Still doesn't hurt it. You have one more action.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I will.
Like, I think your thing allows you to, if you attack with a rapier again, that would give you your free reload. You'd start the next turn with.
Yeah, I guess I could do that, and then I'll at least have the rapier with the first set.
Okay, so that's attack number 3 then.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see here, come on.
No, I don't hit.
No. Okay, so but this thing is very, very hard to like.
At least I reload.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Basil.
All right.
Yeah. So I put back my gun and draw my short sword.
Now, do you put the gun back, or like that would take an interact action, or you just drop it to the desk or the floor or whatever?
Yeah, I think I drop it to the desk.
Okay, so that's free action then. So your short sword is out.
Yes. And then I'm doing the craziest thing I ever did, and I charge forward and attack.
Go ahead. Between all the combatants, I think you've definitely got flat-footed, or this thing is flat-footed, so look at that. And remember to click on the top one, guys, because it'll roll everything all at once. Yeah. That's okay. So that is a critical hit.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And so the damage is ×2. So it's...
well, your critical actually rolls the damage for you.
Oh yeah, that's
but you know what? Fuck it. Let's give you the damage. So we'll multiply that first one by 2 because you're rolling separately. It's 12 points of damage. So then this is that seemed to have maybe it caught the glint of that shot from Hannibal as you get in and you tear at this thing. It is not happy with you. Golag, what are you doing? You have 2 spells that are active right now. One of which is both of which require sustained. So you would need to spend an action each to maintain those 2 spells. One of them has caused this thing to not be able to see any longer. The other one is protecting Igor, just so you remember which ones are active. So.
Did I have an idea of how well the shrouding was working? Did it seem...
Looks pretty good. It actually this thing is flailing out as it's attacking everyone. It's just that it seems like it's a quite powerful spirit.
Gotcha. I will. I want to maintain those. I guess I do. I'll maintain those. And I am noticing that. So my one, I think I was determining, and
just I don't want to make your decision for you. Igor's not in melee any longer. He is the one that has the amulet in there. But if you want to free up a second action so you can cast a 2-action spell, for instance, Igor doesn't seem to be in immediate peril, and your shrouding thing does seem to be affecting this thing.
Okay, no, that's a good. All right, they're very well. It looks like Igor's pulled back, so I'll let that go. I'll let Forbidding Ward go. I'll keep Shroud of Night. And I'm look. I was already looking at magic missiles. Probably the basic combat spell that I pretty much always have, and I'm noticing that it's 1 to 3 actions, which is really nice.
Yeah,
versatility. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So two. So I have 2 left. 2 actions. I'll use them both for magic missile.
Nice. What do your magic missiles look like?
Oh, that is an excellent question. Probably, something shadowy, surely. So yeah, it's black hitting black. In fact, it almost probably to anyone untrained kind of blends, like it's not very splashy. It's not bloody and gory. Mm-hmm. It's more mystical and sort of. Yeah.
Would you roll one more 1d4? I forgot to add that into your spell description, but 1d4 plus 1 is what the second missile will do.
Okay.
Here's one of the classic things about magic missiles, regardless of however you describe them looking, is that they actually do force damage.
Force damage.
Yeah. Yes, and against insubstantial things like this, that has a devastating effect. So
nice.
using like on like seems to be a good strategy because it tears through this thing as you unleash your own shadowy abilities on this. Proving
And also, I've
master.
come up with, I think my shadow, as a callback here, because I didn't really know, but I think it goes to my face when it's scared, like, because, as the old phrase goes, not the face. So my shadow kind of plays around, and I'm like, okay, let's leave the face alone. And get it, so it bunches up on my face when it gets scared.
Awesome. Okay.
Did you cast one missile or two?
He cast two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It only does. Oh, you rolled 2 points of damage. Oh.
Yeah, he rolled 3 points damage from the first one, 3 points damage from the second one.
Oh, okay. I only see one.
Okay.
One there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's rolled in the actual spell as 1, and then he rolled the 1d4 plus 1 separately.
He rolled another one. Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So Golai, you unleash that, and you're maintaining this this effect that's preventing this thing from seeing. Yep. Ms. Dumer.
I shall. I'm already in stance, so I will put up my deflection, but otherwise do a flurry.
Okay.
Again. So let's. Come on, do something.
Oh, now one.
No,
do you want to spend one of your hero points and reroll that?
I shall indeed. Let's do that. And try that one again.
Interesting tidbit, too. It's clear from the description. Sally's body, when she chooses to illuminate it, is covered by little motes of light. So that swing, unfortunately, is still not good enough. You have one more from your flurry of blows. You want to spend a hero point and reroll that?
No, I'll keep it for the next.
Okay. Then you have 2 more actions still.
Oh, well, in that case, let me just go ahead and do it anyway.
Okay, number 3.
I'll keep one for...
Okay, you spent... Yeah, go ahead. So, reroll attack number 2. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's the exact same result. So you still have 2 more actions. So you could make a 3rd attack if you like.
Let's...
I mean, that's why they put 20s on dice.
It's the best attempt
Number
so
3
far.
actually hits. Unfortunately, it does not, but because of its insubstantial state, it passes through. Does not do any effective damage on it. You have 1 more action. What would you like to do?
No, I'm good. I've put my shield up. And I'll curse this thing of darkness. Get back!
Golag, the lights actually aren't illuminated right now. There's a soft glow, but like when she activates it, it's full on deep sea fish.
I might, indeed. A good hint there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Simply being descriptive of your character.
With my rage, I'll get my fists. Just put all of my...
All right, and with that, this thing seems to... It shudders in fear, fleeing as shadows do before the light. Dr. Earthsprung, what are you doing? All of you have seen how this thing reacted to the illumination on Sally.
Yeah, I don't think I can help with that situation. I'm going to take a swing at it. That's the first thing I do now that I've actually armed myself.
Okay. So that... you want to spend... You got 2 hero points left. You want to spend a hero point and reroll that?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. There you go. And that one, likewise, connects. Yeah, and you're seeing why everyone else is having such difficulty, because it's bringing a hammer against a piece of hanging cloth. Come on. 2 more actions. What would you like to do?
I'm going to take 1 more swing, and then I'm going to heal myself. So let me take another swing. No.
Oh, that's wild. You did 1 more hero point left. And actually, you guys should have another hero point because another half hour's passed.
No, I'm going to save that one, but I am going to just do my Searing Restoration.
Okay, nice.
D10 health back.
Nice, excellent. 7. So what's it look like as your these awful almost like cold burning wounds are healed?
Yeah, so it's like a sizzling sort of cooking almost on his skin.
Yep.
It's almost like he's sort of burning. If you had a cut and you were trying to sort of seal it with a burn, it's sort of sizzling, but because his construction, the way he was sort of put together, it don't seem to really noticeable.
That's another scar. Matching a forest fire. All right, then it is this thing's turn. All right, so it did connect with you last time, Dr. Earthsprung. So its first action, what it's doing is you can feel, there's like a chill running down your spine. And I think, Golag, you were the one who notices this. What's happening is those shadowy tendrils are starting to push his shadow away from him, like tearing it free. It feels like that feeling when like either you're on a high place and you're looking down and your stomach kind of falls out from under you. That's the sensation you get. And you are now suffering from enfeebled 1. So if you, on your character sheet, there should be a place where you can click on the conditions and that'll automatically apply it. But for your edification, I think
on the character tab.
On the character tab. There you go. Perfect. What Enfeebled does is a -1 to your strength-based checks and DC, so it's just weakening you.
This happened to Dr. Earthsprung?
To Dr. Earthsprung, you can see that happening. Then it's going to try and it's not going to grab Hannibal anymore, because that did not work. Anna with her suggestions on tactical use of monsters. Jeez. Always got to be a backseat driver. Okay, so this thing is first going to try and connect with Dr. Earthsprung again. That's a 19, so it does hit, but no crit. I'm rolling awful for this thing. It should be doing a lot more damage. 10 points of damage on Dr. Earthsprung again, as those tendrils writhe across and leave that burning mark. And then without Hannibal, we do have Basil, who's presented himself as a volunteer for our next attack. What's your AC, Basil?
17.
17. Okay, so I got a 10, 28. Shit, I did crit. I should have shut my fucking mouth. Sorry about the lack of crits. Oh, wait. No, it's plus 10. Yeah, so that is a crit. All right, so Basil, you're taking... Let's see here. I did not roll well for damage, though. It's 6, 10, 15 points of damage, Basil. As this... and likewise, it's wrapping across you like... I mean, you hurt it quite badly with your last attack. So we have tendrils on Basil, we have tendrils on Dr. Earthsprung, and this thing is trying to pull Dr. Earthsprung's shadow free. Hannibal, what are you doing?
Well, Hannibal was able to reload, so I'm going to take the shot first, so he can maybe hit.
Come on.
Take the first shot.
Is that nat 20? Let's see it.
Oh, no.
That's a hit.
It might do some damage.
It did do some damage on it, yep. Okay. And this thing has, like, bizarrely, although it's a writhing shadow, there are holes in this thing now where you guys can see light passing through. 2 more actions. What are you doing?
What would it... I mean, would it take an action to cry out that it didn't harm me, so maybe since it doesn't...
Free action. That's combat banter is free.
Okay, it didn't harm me because maybe it's channels negative energy, if I know what that term is.
It can't hurt the dead, maybe, is a way of communicating.
Yeah, it can't hurt the dead. Maybe it's vulnerable to holy light. Right?
Okay.
And then I'll track with my rapier so I can at least reload my gun.
Sure.
That's a miss.
You want to spend a hero point and re-roll that?
Not for the rapier. It doesn't really. I have to roll because I don't have the bonus damage on it yet.
Okay.
So at least he was able to reload. So then I guess I could try take a shot with the dueling pistol again.
Yep.
The third. It's number 3, right?
You know that spin in the Boba Fett that people were bitching about? The unnecessary spin the kid took? That, I'm picturing what Hannibal does do. Is hits, spins around as he reloads and shoots. So that is a hit. Unfortunately, not enough.
Nothing. I can't use a hero point for damage.
You cannot. No, only for D20s.
Okay.
All right.
Because I hit.
Okay.
Oh, well.
God down, you damn thing. All right, Basil.
Yep. So maybe holy energy can hurt it. At least I...
Yeah. So that's what happens to people to try to be brave warriors in a way. So, I think I will attack it nonetheless.
Okay. You are definitely chipping away at this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not really.
And you did see it recoil. All of you saw it recoil from Sally Dumer's light as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awful.
I know that, but I have no light right. So that was awful, but I know it was awful.
Yep. So you hero point that?
I will just I don't know. I think I will just walk backwards and So go and see whether I find a candle or some light or something.
It's your office, so you can picture there's got to be like lights in here and lamps and whatnot. So definitely, I think we've said last time when you fought the Harrow Haunts that there was a fireplace in here as well.
Yeah, okay, so I will, okay, maybe that's the best thing. So maybe there is a piece of wood I could just take out of the fireplace.
Grab a burning brand, sure.
Yeah, and then swing it around.
You swing, you stride over to the thing, interact with object to pick up. So you got your short sword in one hand and a burning brand in the other one.
Yes.
Golag, what are you doing?
So along the same theme, Golag holds out his left hand and casts the cantrip Light.
Nice.
And tries to drive it away from Earthsprung.
What is he casting? So what you can do is you can cast it on a object. So you could, say, cast it on your hand, or like a ring, or like, say, Hannibal's rapier.
Let's see. That's actually, I was actually going to possibly cast it on Earthsprung, since he seems to be, because
his hammer could flare up with light for sure.
I'll do that because I'm sensitive to his shadow being torn from him. I think would pop to Golag. So he casts light on Dr. Earthsprung.
Okay, so it's on an object, so it would be like, I guess, his hammer.
Sure.
Okay, so Dr. Earthsprung, your hammer flares with light. That is what, a 2-action?
Yep. And my remaining action, magic missile. I'll fire 1.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Do you have a second magic missile prepared? Remember, your type of character would be preparing them ahead of time. And the only reason I ask is you did say that you were going to be prepping like non-combat spells.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts were like I get 3, I think, total, and I was thinking, 2 along with that theme, but keeping a, like one utility combat. Yeah.
Okay, one the object.
But
reading.
I used it last turn. Can I use it this turn again? Magic missile?
No, like it's you can they're fire and forget, just like in classic D&D. So like once that's the type of caster you are. If you prepared, you could have prepared 2 magic missiles.
I see.
And if you think your character would have done that, that's fine. But as soon as you use it, it's like
no, he wouldn't have done that.
Okay,
gotcha. That's helpful. I got 1 left.
Did you want to sustain the blinding effect?
Yes, I do. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to do.
Ms. Dumer, you are furiously shining now with that blue light from all the little motes on your body. What would you like to do?
Now, I was thinking, because it's sizable, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I was thinking to use my acrobatics to jump onto the desk and then leap on it and bring both my shining fists down on.
Love it.
Somewhere nearer its head.
Okay. So that will be a thematic description. You don't need to spend an extra action for that. Go ahead and give us your attacks. So you need no more than 1. What does it look like as you bring that shining fist down and
I punch it right down through the top of its head, and as it does it, the sort of shadow dissipates in the light that burns it away.
All right, and with that strike, you guys all see that the lights in the room shudder for a moment, and then they are back to normal. What do you guys do next?
Yell for Sylvan with new refreshments.
If you survey your allies, you can tell that Basil is looking pretty banged up.
Pretty messed. Yeah.
Golag has not gone unscathed in this fight. How did you take damage? Oh no, that was from. You know what? That's leftover. You should be at full hit points.
Okay.
Yeah, that was from leftover. I think only. So Basil is most particularly.
Yep.
Doctor.
Yeah, I can try and heal him with my medicine check on it.
Yeah, so you can roll to heal 2d8. You can roll against a DC 15, or you can try and heal more by rolling against a harder difficulty number.
Yeah, I'll go for a higher one.
Okay, so I think DC 20, I believe, heals 4d8.
Since I'm trained, can I assist? Does it work like that, or?
Not really. No, like aid another has to. Aid another, you have to roll against a DC 20 in order to successfully help.
Okay.
So do you think, why don't you give us a medicine check?
No, I have no idea.
It's the dangerous. What's that saying about like a little bit of knowledge is dangerous?
Right. Yeah. I get out a leech and put it back away. No.
You want to spend a hero point there, Dr. Esprong?
I certainly do.
Okay.
I should roll that.
25. Nice.
There you go.
So then, so you're going to recover 2d8 plus 10. Basil?
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Holy
23.
Thank you. I'm fit again.
I like the visual as well of the giant Dr. Ersprung putting these tiny bandages on Basil. Dr. Ersprung, you also are injured.
I'll go for the low option. I can do it on myself.
Yep,
I assume.
DC 15.
Yeah.
Easy. So 20. If you'd rolled 25 on that check, that would have been 4d8. And you remove the wounded condition if you were down. So go and roll 2d8. That's how much you recover.
Oh, that's good.
Nice. Okay.
I've still got the effect, though, haven't I? Or does that wear off?
No, so what Wounded is, and none of you guys actually died. Wounded is the way of sort of the game tracks the walking wounded kind of element. If you drop down to 0 hit points, you gain the Wounded 1 condition, and then if you're not stabilized, you keep gaining those, and if you're recovered, so you gain the Dying 1 condition. If you recover from that, you gain the Wounded condition that stays until you get treated. It's the way that the game prevents you from like constantly bopping up and down from 0 hit points. If every time you drop, you gain another wound, your wounded condition translates into dying, and then you also gain 1 more. If you gain dying 4, your character dies.
But the enfeebled thing, was that just because it was
completely gone now? Yeah, that's gone.
Pulling at my shadows, yeah.
Yep, that was only because it was trying to pull your shadow free.
Yeah.
And you think you could hear, maybe your mind's playing tricks on you. But you could have sworn you heard that thing whispering in that same language that you heard at the seance and that Golag was, as if it was whispering to your shadow, trying to turn it against you.
Yeah, it'll have a shudder after sort of that whole encounter.
Now, I think you might be able to use craft on Igor the same way you do healing. I don't remember.
I did wonder how I patch him up, because there isn't no sort of in combat one. But
let's see here. I think you might be able to gain a feat to that effect later on.
That's cool.
Let's see here. Let's just say you can for now, and then we'll look it up. And if I'm wrong, then whatever. We'll not do it again. Why don't you give us a craft check? Same thing as if you're rolling against the same target numbers. 15 will restore 2d8. If you go for a higher target number, look at that.
I'll go for the normal one. Sorry.
Normal one. Okay, so restore 2d8 damage to Igor. And then, what do you guys make of that?
So, do you think it was summoned here by that stone?
No.
I think that it may have given away our location, at least, the stone. In fact, Dr. Ursprung, maybe check to see that we still have the stone, just in case.
Yeah, I can certainly check.
After kind of hammering Igor a little bit, you're able to open that door or the secret compartment quite handily. It's still there.
Unless the lady sent it. Lady Ivywood.
Yeah, the possessed entity. Well, at least we have its attention, eh?
No, I think I don't even think that the lady necessarily did. So the shadow I talked to, he knew who we were. So at least I told him, I guess. So I think they know who we are now.
I see.
Yes, indeed.
This is also the second time that you have been attacked by a spirit in your study, which means either you have a complete hack as a DM, or you guys need to investigate some kind of protection and warding for your house.
Yeah. I had that thought at the beginning of the scene. Like
both could be true.
We need to work on the office's defenses. And whatever can be done, Kevin, out of combat to renew spell
So your spells are a daily thing. You need to rest once a day in order to gain your spell slots back, and then you can prep new spells. Your focus point, though, you gain that back after 10 minutes of concentration or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
In your case, maybe communing with the shadows or whatever.
Yeah. I'll get it off my face, and then.
Nice, and then you truly have proven to be the master of shadow magics in this encounter. So, guys, you guys were discussing what to do next when you were so rudely interrupted by something.
Probably, I think our notion was to go have another discussion with Azora Ivywood and see if we can see if she even realizes what's going on, if she remembers her encounter with Basil, etc. That seems worthy.
For strange reasons, Basil seems very occupied and says he has to find Claire Tabina instead.
Who?
Claire Tabina. She was a servant of Lady Peyton Hall. And there was some incident with Thorngrove, and I don't know what the incident was, but it may seem relevant. And in a lower voice, I add, and it keeps me away from this Lady Ivywood, whatever.
Not sure anyone should be traveling on their own, though, in these times.
Yeah, if you want to follow along.
Yeah, we should all go and stick together.
Yeah. I mean, either that's
Can we do both? But as a group.
Yeah, you see his ears flapping down.
Carrying burning brands in our hands.
Yeah.
So, anything else you guys wish to discuss tonight before you guys call it an evening?
I would like to ask Golag, have you got any insight in the shadows? Have we got anything that we can use to face these things? Any sort of light source? It seemed to be affected by the light. Is there anything we can use in a defensive nature?
Either Golag or Dr. Earthsprung. You guys are both trained in Arcana. Golag, you're in occultism. Thank you, Anna. Anna reminded me of occultism. Anyone who's trained in occultism can also make this roll.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, light. Using light is anathema to shadow. As you can see with Sally's, if she describes what happened, it finally felt like hitting something solid when she was using her illuminated fist to hammer down on this thing. Your hammer likely would have been just as effective. You would have found yourself hitting a solid creature as opposed to the diaphanous thing that you had been facing.
Huh.
An excellent point, Dr. Earthsprung. We should all have some method of on our person of emitting some significant light, at least for defensive purposes, if not offensive.
And even just like a flashlight or some sort of torch or something would give you some defense, or does it need to be more powerful?
Yeah, I mean,
does it need to be magical light, or can Dr. Earthsprung make a little flashlight thing?
A flashlight thing would, but it would have the impact equal to the size of that, right? So it'd be the same as if hitting someone with like a flashlight. If you used, say, Sally's natural gifts to illuminate herself, or the magic that Golag used on Dr. Earthsprung's hammer, that would be remarkable because the whole thing is illuminated in light. If you maybe Dr. Earthsprung, I don't think you could build something permanent, but I mean like some kind of like sparking thing, like a sparkler or whatever.
I was wondering, can I magnify the light in some way, or make something just emit more light than it normally would?
Like a focusing lens of some kind.
Sort of overdrive it almost, yeah.
So there are signaling lanterns, I suppose.
Some way of focusing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That also might have an effect, in addition to having like weaponry that hurts it. If you could increase the illumination on it, that likely would also have an effect. It may have a similar sort of weakening effect to what Dr. Earthsprung was experiencing as that thing was trying to tear his shadow free.
I think it's a good point that everyone should at least have a lantern on them so that they can maybe even set it on the ground if during encountering one where it would shed light around you at the very least, keeping your hands free to do what you will towards it in a defensive capacity at the very least.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone can consider what your own method might be going forward.
I don't know how long a inventor sort of feat would take to sort of try and knock something together.
Oh, so to just create like a lantern?
Well, just to make it a bit more effective than a standard lantern. I'm sure we can purchase lanterns, but
yeah, because one of the things that the inventor gets to do is like as a downtime action, you constantly get to.
I was going to say it's more of a downtime thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think it would take a little while to, but you might be able to buy something like that though.
Yeah, so I guess in the harbor they might have this signaling lanterns you use in ships, which you communicate through the mist. So I think.
Yeah, on a boat or
Yeah.
Just a more bright, bigger, more powerful light. Yeah.
You know who might have something like that is as sort of a keepsake, Mrs. Hunter. That might be if you're thinking for something like a fog light, for use like
storm light or a storm lantern of.
Yeah, storm lantern. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. I think that if you don't want to purchase something,
see if it has any.
Yeah, I mean one of the things that can be whatever faults that Captain Hunter may have had. Or whatever else I should say could be said about him. He certainly enjoyed the maritime life, so their home is appointed with many such treasures, so I think you could easily collect that from her. So you got a great big powerful light that will I think that it's going to be a little cumbersome, so it's something that's more designed to be on something as opposed to carried around. Is that sort of what you were picturing?
Yeah, I'd give one to Igor, and I'd potentially carry one as the bulkier sort of members of the group, maybe.
Okay. And then what do you guys intend on doing tonight? Is everyone staying at Shadow Eliminations or going on? Dr. Earthsprung, I know you reside elsewhere.
I wonder if we should stay together just in case.
Yeah, I'd be happier to stay together, I think.
Okay.
Oleg clearly there. That's where it is. That's his.
Basil so clearly wants to go on his own.
Really?
No, he does not want to go to the Ivory Woods. That's everything.
Yeah.
Everyone
You can go to a tavern when we make that next stop.
Yeah.
I'll have Sylvan make sure there's lanterns in each of the office's rooms now.
Sure. Every fireplace is blazing. Every light is lit in there, and anything else you guys wish to do this evening before you bed down?
Yeah. Just in the odd case that there might be something in the files, maybe about I don't know. Maybe we encountered something about the Peyton halls before, so that I could maybe infer something about where this Claire Tabina has gone.
Sure. So I think, let's do this. I'm going to set the difficulty at 19 for once you give us a diplomacy check. That's your gather information. I can't remember if Basil has an ability to use a different skill for gather information.
Yes, I can use society for that.
So either of those you can use.
Yes. Oh.
You still have 2 hero points. You want to spend one of those to reroll?
Yeah, I think I should. I mean, it could have been part of my investigation, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I'll use a hero point and roll again.
Okay, here we go. Big money, big money.
Yeah, let's see.
And there you go. Look at that. You do remember something. Apparently there was what you'd heard, and I think this is something that you collected in just in an odd thing. There was someone who was let go. Maybe you looked into this when after you spoke to Annabelle, and that's why it's so specific to this person. What you found is Claire Tabiner is now seeking employment again, but she's fine as a household guest. Apparently, she made a bit of a scandal with someone during a performance. What you heard is that she was inappropriate with someone when she visited with, and then that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, sex stuff. It just means that, like, someone wasn't conducting themselves appropriate to their station. When Thorngrove was there, apparently she seemed to take an inappropriate amount of familiarity with Mr. Thorngrove.
Okay.
And that's the reason she's having such a hell of a time to find further employment. That also means you have a way of reaching her. If you do want to go and meet with her in her neighborhood, you certainly could do that. She sadly has nothing better to do right now. So
yeah.
Golag, whether he actually whether it mechanically manifests or not, is going to that night is going to have the tome in his lap, you know, with probably smoking something, and the shadow kind of playing over his visage and on the book.
There is there are ways to learn other languages in the game as well. And I think, is it a feat? In some editions of the D&D, it's a feat. Let's see here.
There is a bonus language feat.
Is that what it is? Is bonus language?
Yeah, you get 2 additional languages with the bonus language.
Multilingual.
Yeah.
So you actually have to pick a skill feat and a witch feat for your second level, Golag. One of the things you could do is pick Shadow Tongue as one of your additional languages in addition to something else, if you were so inclined.
Skill feat and a language feat. Okay.
Yeah, skill feat is so the way there's different kinds of feats in the game. There's class feats, there are skill feats, and there are general feats. And then at different levels you gain different things. It's basically just like either special abilities related to your class or special abilities that happen to link in with your existing skills. In your case, that's one of the optional skill feats you could take. You also have a witch feat. So, yeah, you're keeping your eye on this book. It feels full of potential, potential knowledge. So then, seriously, it's a fucking a DM who made a shadow-themed character and didn't give him Shadow Tongue. It's almost like I planned it that way. God, to create a frustration and something to work towards. I wish I had that much forethought. Anything else you guys wish to do this evening before you guys turn in? Nada?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Ms. Dumare, you find yourself soaking back in the brine once again to get your daily soak on.
Absolutely. And recharge get those moats, aren't they?
Yeah.
Get them fully salinated and ready for action.
All right. So then, overnight, let's see here. No one else. Oh, Adam, you're still injured. Your second level, which means you are back up to full health again without any additional things. Igor does not heal on his own, but you could spend time repairing him. Let's assume that because you can keep applying your repairs after an hour. So let's assume that you successfully restore Igor back up to full functioning capacity. And Golag, when morning comes, you will be able to select your spells and your cantrips. You can prep 5 cantrips throughout the day, and then you have 3 spell slots that you can fill up with any of those spells that you know.
My cantrip says 6. Do you think that's incorrect?
Oh, if it's 6?
It says on my spell
You're right.
page.
No, you're absolutely right, because you got actually you've got extra cantrips because of one of your class features. Okay. Yes, so you can pick 6 of those cantrips to be prepped, and you can cast those as many times as you like, and then you pick 3 spells, and you can prepare certain spells multiple times if you want to prepare them.
Cool.
Once that is together, you guys are heading to where? We'll pick up with you guys meeting in your customary breakfast meeting that we sometimes flash back to. What is the plan for today, guys?
probably eating in that same big room now that's the fire's going. There's some lanterns about.
Yep. Well, and the welcoming light of dawn has come as well too. Right. So it is nice and bright.
Probably the curtains thrown wide, more wide than usual.
Most definitely. And though it is that weak winter light, it still is bright. Every corner of the room is illuminated.
Yeah. Just in case.
So first to are we Claire Tobina, Basil? That is your obsession this morning? Is that correct?
Yeah. I was thinking I would go to visit Claire, and you would go to the Ivory people. Yes.
I mean, we could go into two.
Why are you reluctant to have us all go together? I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't want to meet that lady again.
The Azora.
Yes.
Yeah. Either we all go to Claire Tabita's, and then you go to we drop you off at a tavern on the way to Azora's, or we split into two groups and accomplish them simultaneously.
Yeah. So I will just go for the tavern this time. So
okay. Very good. I think we were going to head to Lady Peyton. Oh no, because she's not employed there anymore. We were going to find Claire Tabina this morning.
Basil had through some contacts throughout the day yesterday after his meeting with Ms. Carrington. You've got that contact information now.
Yeah, I have the address. She lives then there. You could go, like, if you wanted, you could offer her a job, and maybe she would like to talk to you, because she's unemployed right now.
The thought did occur to me, actually. And I perhaps Sylvan is lurking, somewhere as he does.
Yep.
And I raise an eyebrow at him, because he is, I try to give him his due once in a while, and so look to him for guidance on the office front.
What do you expect the relationship is between you two? Is he deferential to a servant, or is he kind of that, like Alfred and Bruce Wayne, more familiar?
Probably something in the middle. I mean, I think I rely on him to keep the office. It's important to have a place to. In fact, there'll be words about the defenses of the office. It's not necessarily his fault, but I mean, he's in charge. He's kind of in charge of it, sort of. So I think it's definitely not just kind of a servant relationship.
So if you mention the defenses out loud, he does. He says in respect to your question about an extra servant, he says if Master's business can afford such assistance, I certainly could put those hands to use. They would not remain idle. In particular, with the growing number of residents here.
Yes, well, I think it's a good idea, and that maybe allow you to focus on other areas that less straightening, and perhaps look to the security of our.
And if Master is concerned with the imposition of unnatural creatures into here, perhaps Master could follow up with recent acquaintances who have connection with Collingwood University and the colleges of magic, to address those concerns.
Of wards, you mean, on the office, Sylvan?
I would, of course, know of nothing of such things, Master. But I think perhaps your recent acquaintance with the professor may be a more studied source of such information.
And he's talking about, is he talking about Morris Watson Fole?
Yes, Professor Watson Fole. He is a master of, or a professor of divination But they certainly could have, if he is not able to assist you with securing your office magically, there may be others. He may know someone who can.
All right. Excellent. A worthy idea, Sylvan. And when we meet with this Claire Tubina, then I will suggest that she arranges a meeting with you so that you can determine if she has your approval on a hiring.
He nods, says, I trust, if Master requires such assistance, I will judge her suitability. If she has been dismissed for the reasons you suggest, sir, there may be etiquette instructions that may be required.
Very good.
Master?
Okay, so...
it's really fucking hard to not try and do K9's voice when I'm saying that. Then, guys, with you piling into one of the carriages, we will leave our session with you guys heading off to go and track down the mysterious Miss Tabiner. So, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 3 of the Endless Odyssey, a Spires of Paridar mystery. I really should have thought beforehand to start naming these things like that kind of like old-time radio play kind of way. But it's one of those happy coincidences as we go. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. You can also find a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have channels dedicated to this game, every game we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels and a bunch of other people. That's also where I happen to post the schedule for the coming weeks. So if you want to know what's happening on the channel, you can find that on the community tab of the YouTube channel, or you can find it over at the Dungeon Musings Discord server. In addition, if you're lurking down below in the description of this video, you'll also find a link to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is a terrific source of many of the out-of-print, in particular, products that I use in a lot of my games. And they have very generously offered us a 10% discount that you can use on any purchase over $10 through their website, and it stacks with any other sales or deals that they have going on. If you do want to take advantage of that, just be sure to enter Dungeon Muser as a discount code as you're checking out, and they will apply that for you. In addition, we will very soon have news about our charity fundraising. I've got to respond to an email today about that. We'll have our Heroes Save Villages campaign back up and active, which benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really great organization active in over 130 countries that benefits over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children, including children who currently live in Ukraine. At the time of recording, we're still slightly more than a week into the war in Ukraine, and my thoughts and best hopes are with the people of Ukraine. In addition, with the people who are continuing to protest in Russia. That is no small activity to be doing in a place like Putin's regime, so our thoughts are with those folks as well. SOS Children's Villages International continues to provide support and assistance for kids affected by those kinds of conflicts, and we will have our donation link up very soon. All donations made through the Heroes Save Villages campaign benefit go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to a middleman, none of it goes to the channel. It all just goes to help those kids, and as a small way of saying thank you for that, we offer an opportunity to win some cool gaming stuff in our regular charity raffles, but I'll have more about that very soon. I can tell you we've already got some great prizes for our next charity raffle, including a new box set from our friends at Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse, a really amazing producer of top shelf products. We were talking about that before, after the break, with Darren was the winner of one of the charity raffles from Beetle and Grimm's, and they're just awesome stuff. We also have a chainmail dice bag made by our resident armor smith, as well as a bunch of other great stuff. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart illuminators. So, Sean, James, Ingolf, Carl, and Darren, thank you so much for playing today, guys. This continues to be just a shit ton of fun. I can't believe how fast these sessions go by. Anna says, She heard the outro. So she says, have a great weekend to everybody. For those listening at home, thank you once again for joining us. We hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our illuminators are uncovering in the soot and fog-filled streets of Paridar. And until we see you again in 2 weeks' time, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.